The first shot didn't sound like discipline, it sounded like failure. A sharp crack echoed across Camp Ravenridge's range, but from Lane 4 the report came late and weak an afterthought. Almost embarrassed to exist, brass glittered in the sun from every other weapon. From hers, only a single casing clattered to the concrete, marking specialist Ana Voss as the outlier yet again. She looked small under the weight of her M4A1. Her posture sagged where it should have locked. Shoulders hunched instead of squared. Down the line, soldiers moved like clockwork, steady breath. Crisp trigger squeeze, eyes hard. Ana looked like she was peering through the target, not at it. And when the monitor blinked red, confirming yet another wild miss, the smirk from Corporal Hale in the next lane was merciless. Major Victor Rourke's jaw tightened. Ravenridge was his forge, a place that turned raw recruits into hardened steel. Yet here she stood, a flaw in his record, failing qualification for the 7th time, logistics transfer or not. She had no business wasting ammunition on his range. Cease fire, the command cut through the haze. Bolts locked back, magazines dropped clean to concrete. Ana fumbled hers. It clattered, echoing her defeat. Hale chuckled openly this time. Rourke's boots struck hard as he closed in, shadow falling across her like a verdict already passed. Specialist. His voice was low, threaded with restrained fury. Explain yourself. She turned, face impassive, gray eyes dulled by failure, trying to qualify. Sir. Trying, he repeated, each syllable heavy as stone. 3 days on a basic marksmanship course that children could pass, blindfolded. You're wasting time. You're wasting oxygen. Report to admin barracks. You're finished. The dismissal was absolute. Soldiers watched in silence, some with pity, most with curiosity. This was spectacle now. But Ana didn't move. She stayed in the shadow of his authority, her voice cutting clean, permission to attempt the course one more time. Cold. Rourke froze. The request was absurd. 1 magazine, 10 rounds, no warm-up, a raw, instinctive test only the most confident shooters dared suggest. He prepared to shut her down again. But then he noticed her hands didn't shake. The scar carved pale against her skin wasn't the mark of an amateur. And for the first time, he wondered who exactly was Specialist Ana Voss. Where are you watching from? Sound off in the comments. Hit subscribe to fall in. The scar should have been nothing. A faded crescent in the web of her hand, half hidden by callus. Yet Rourke couldn't dismiss it. Something in its shape refused to let go of his thoughts. Fine, he snapped, gravel in his voice. 1 magazine, 10 rounds, Cruz fresh rifle. Sergeant Jonah Cruz lumbered forward, heavy boots biting dust. With a muttered curse, he dropped the M4 into Ana's hands as though passing her a live grenade. Don't break this one. Rookie. But her fingers curled with strange familiarity. Not clumsy, not tentative like a craftsman reacquainting herself with a forgotten tool. She shut her eyes, once, inhaled, and when they opened, the rifle came alive in her grip. Whenever you're ready. Specialist, Rourke said, letting mockery drip. Entertain us. The crack tore across the range clean, sharp. The monitor flashed green, dead center. A second shot snapped, landing a hair above the first, then 3 in rapid cadence, each vanishing into the same pocket of paper. The monitor pulsed a clover-leaf cluster so tight even Cruz's eyes widened. The smirk fell from Corporal Marcus Hale's face as silence spread down the line. Ana shifted her stance. Crack crown shot, brainstem high. Crack again, almost identical. The range grew reverent, air thick with disbelief. She didn't stop there. Crack left knee, crack right knee. The target's silhouette was methodically dismantled. 1 round remained. She held, calm, letting time thicken. Then she moved her sights off the silhouette. Rourke tracked the line of her barrel and felt the cold sink into his bones. She was aimed at the steel support cable. The shot rang out. Ping! The cable snapped clean. The target sagged, then toppled face first into the dust. Ana cleared the weapon with ritual precision, her motions smooth as memory. When she turned, her eyes were not those of a fumbling recruit. They were steady, timeless, carrying weight Rourke had no name for. In that moment he understood she hadn't been failing. She had been holding back. Legends whispered differently from reports. Commanders who had spoken the name Kestrel always dropped their voices, as though even syllables could summon her. A shadow that moved across battlefields, erasing units with precision so inhuman it was said the dead fell before they heard the shot, always marked by a crescent. Rourke's eyes locked on Ana Voss, or Petrova if the files were to be believed. She hadn't been failing the range. She had been burying herself in failure, hiding, pretending to be ordinary. Petrova. The name slipped out before he could stop it, tasting like a half-remembered sin. The world exploded before she could answer. The ammo shed blew skyward, fireballs shattering glass and rattling bones. The crackle of controlled bursts followed measured, surgical, not the panicked spray of insurgents. Professionals. Contact Rourke's shout cut the paralysis. He seized the nearest body, Corporal Marcus Hale, and dragged him into cover as dirt erupted under incoming fire. Around them, recruits emptied magazines blindly into the hills, every muzzle flashing desperation. Ana Voss was gone. For a heartbeat he thought she had fled. That all of its scar, shots, whispers had been a lie. Then his gaze caught movement, not retreating, but advancing. Her shape flowed through smoke and ruin, rifle slung, posture intent. She wasn't aiming at enemies. She was angling for the bunker armory. 50 yards of open kill zone lay between. A heavy machine gun pinned the ground with a reaper's rhythm. Soldiers who tried to cross were shredded instantly. Ana crouched at the edge, waiting. Rourke realized with a shiver she wasn't looking at targets. She was listening, counting beats between bursts. Then she moved. She sprinted low, weaving, every stride folding into shadow and smoke. Tracers clawed the air behind her, but never found flesh. She slid behind a burning jeep, then into the drainage ditch, vanishing like water down a crack. Seconds stretched. The gun thundered again. Then silence. No jam, no misfire, just absence. Rourke felt the hairs rise along his neck. The machine gun was gone because its crew was gone. Erased, Hale muttered. No way, but Rourke already knew. The recruits fired less now, their panic fighting with confusion. Shadows on the ridge shifted, the enemy faltered. Command chains severed. The myth was no longer a whisper in reports. It was here, walking their battlefield. When the next crack came, it was heavier, deeper, the unmistakable roar of a Barrett. And with it, the legend's return. Rourke drew breath, heart hammering. He knew what the scar meant, what the name Petrova had always masked. The ghost wasn't hiding anymore. Fan 4. The battlefield shifted with a single new voice, a deep, resonant thump that cut clean through the chaos like a war drum. The Barrett M107A1 had spoken. A 50 cal round ripped the air and took a man off the ridgeline so hard he came apart in a mist the wind couldn't carry fast enough. Thump. The radio man folded. His set detonated into shrapnel, severing their command spine. Thump. Another gunner pitched backward, and the assault's cadence stuttered. Confidence bled into confusion. The hunters felt hunted. Specter was in play. Major Victor Rourke snapped back into command. Hale. Up on the comms, raise higher, Sergeant Jonah Cruz. Left flank, lay down suppressive, everyone else. Intervals and sectors move. Orders cut through panic. Muscle memory returned. Recruits became soldiers again. Muzzle flashes found purpose. The range minutes ago, a killing pen grew teeth. Rourke lifted his binoculars. On the ridge, formations fractured, pairs broke, discipline frayed. Heads jerked for orders that wouldn't come. Downrange. The bunker's firing port coughed heat. Smoke curled from the Barrett's break. In that rectangle of shadow, a face turned. Not fevered, not triumphant, tranquil like a surgeon over a table. The range had been her cage. This was her oxygen. He hunted for the sniper that had pinned them early, found him well dug in, stone and brush layered with a professional's patience. At first Rourke thought the man was holding, then he saw it, the slump, the tiny, obscene circle punched through the glass of a high-power optic. Not just a kill, a message, a marginless shot that forgave nothing. His hands trembled around the glass. The whispers from years ago hadn't been tall tales. They'd been timid. The fight stretched another 10 minutes. It no longer resembled a battle, more like a controlled demolition. Whenever a figure rallied, the Barrett spoke, or a quieter rifle answered from somewhere the enemy never managed to find, and resolve evaporated. The ridgeline thinned, then emptied, then fell quiet except for the brittle crackle of burning wood and the human sounds war leaves behind. Lines, Rourke barked. Cruise. Perimeter. Hail. Sitrep to hire short, tight, accurate, medics. Now men and women moved. Grateful for the gravity of work. They counted heads, lifted stretchers, stacked ammo. Losses. Yes, but intact. Because of her. She emerged from the bunker at an ordinary walking pace, the Barrett slung like it didn't weigh 60 pounds with glass and steel. A slice of shrapnel had kissed her cheek. She hadn't wiped the blood. Eyes steady, steps economical. Every recruit who had laughed earlier went quiet. Corporal Marcus Hale, first to sneer, took a half-step back without meaning to. She stopped before Rourke and offered the rifle across her palms. This needs to be logged back into inventory. Sir, he didn't take it at once. He studied the dust, the blood, the small crescent in the web of her hand. The thing reports never capture and legends never explain. Specter. He said, not asked. Something minute shifted in her eyes, weariness. Maybe mercy. That's not my name anymore. Major. No, he said, voice rough. I suppose it isn't. He accepted the Barrett and the weight of what stood in front of him. Night traded gunfire for orders. Medics moved with quiet urgency. Stretchers lifted. Radios hissed and calmed. The base breathed, wounded but breathing, as if refusing the day's verdict on principle. Ana Voss, specialist Petrova, on paper Specter when the dark remembers, wanted none of it. No ceremony, no halo, just work. Rourke saw it and answered with the only honor she'd accept, not praise. But trust. Get the wounded to the aid station, he called. Voice back to steel. Hail. Munitions expenditure and ammo forecast in 10. Cruise. Perimeter depth to 2 rings and lock the east drawer. The unit moved relieved to be normal again. When the quiet finally settled, he found her near the motor pool, away from the center of gravity. A small cleaning kit lay open on a stained rag. Not the issued M4 in her lap, a different rifle. Sleek lines and honest wear. Her hands worked in a ritual of cloth and oil bolt out. Carbon gone, tolerances respected. In the first light, the tiny crescent on her hand, caught and held like a star pinned low to the horizon. It wasn't a blemish. It was a covenant, a truth the world could not paperwork away. She didn't look up when he stopped short. Choosing the distance that keeps sacred things intact. What happens now? Major, she asked at last, voice as even as it had been on the line. He glanced at the scarred range. The black scorch at the far berm. The people still here because of one woman who refused to be a myth. He thought of forms and inquiries. The way truth drowns beneath official language. What happens now? He said. Is that specialist Petrova passes basic rifle marksmanship with a score of 40 out of 40. I'll sign it myself. And she joins my unit. A flicker, small, but real, touched her mouth, not triumph. Permission to be ordinary. Medevacs beat the last of the night away. The sun found edges to gild. Hale jogged past with a clipboard and didn't meet her eyes out of respect this time. Not fear. Work resumed. The world, stubborn as ever, moved on. Rourke turned to go, understanding what she would never say out loud. Some shadows aren't curses. They are guardians you carry. Quiet until needed. 2 lessons lodged in his bones as he walked. You can hide from glory and still answer when it counts. And the most dangerous soldier is often the one who hopes you never learn her name.